NFL Power Rankings entering Week 2 is made possible by our friends over at Magic Spoon. Get $5 off your first order of the best tasting, healthy cereal out there on the market when you go over to magicspoon.com/chat. That link, by the way, will be in the comment section and it'll be in the description. So we're going to go 32-1 on our power rankings. At number 32, unanimous this week amongst the Chat Sports pollers, the Jacksonville Jags. That should surprise nobody. They looked awful in Week 1. The Lions check in now at number 31 as I go out of order here, so that's my fault. It's okay. Lions go 31, 0-1. They rallied late against the Niners, but there was a pretty big gap in our power rankings between 32 and figuring out who was next. So maybe you go Lions, maybe you go somewhere else, but we were unanimous here amongst the people who got their votes in. I'll explain that later on. We had the Jags as the worst team in the NFL. But it's not just about us. We always want to hear from you guys. So let me know in the comments who you think is the worst NFL team after 1 week. Get your votes in right now. Number 30, the New York Jets. They rallied late against Carolina. I still think this team is in a rebuilding mode. So no real surprise there. The Falcons, they dropped pretty substantially. They did not look good at all. The Eagles really kind of blew them up. Falcons check in at 29. Now, I mentioned amongst those who got their rankings in. Well, Mitchell Renz was in Vegas doing his Raiders-Ravens watch party. He got a little bit too lit, and he didn't get his rankings in on time. I get it. It was a late night. But I warned Mitch he was going to get bodied if he didn't put his rankings in by 8 a.m. Central Time. He didn't do it. So everyone troll Mitch in the comment section. Type in boo to boo this man for not getting his rankings in on time. All right, more 0-1 teams. The Giants, they check in at number 28. I don't trust that offense. Sorry, Giants fans, but welcome to Jason Garrett. The Texans check in at number 27. They did win. That matters in Week 1. This worries me. It's going to be a little bit like the Houston Texans. They beat the Jags, of course. This reminds me of last year's Jags team. They win Week 1 and then don't get that many wins the rest of the season. Minnesota checks in at 26. They lost to the Bengals. You'll see them here in just a minute. It was, I thought, not a good showing by the Minnesota Vikings. I was pretty underwhelmed by how Minnesota fared. And we still got plenty of teams to get to, but this question is going to be the pinned comment today on this video. What team are we too low on? Get your votes in for me in the comment section. As a reminder, folks, it is the pinned comment on today's video. So you get that ad break, scroll on down, and let me know. The Chicago Bears check in at number 25 as you got to play Justin Fields. That defense, by the way, look, I know it was against a good Rams offense. I have concerns about that Bears defense, that secondary moving forward. A well-earned win by the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 1. They took down the Minnesota Vikings, so unsurprisingly, they move up in our power rankings. I will make note, the schedule gets a little bit tougher down the stretch of the back end. They could start hot. The last 10 games or so, brutal for Cincinnati. Carolina beat up on the Jets, at least early on, allowed the Jets to crawl back into it. So, much like the Bengals, I'm not sold yet on Carolina. Neither were the rest of the Chat Sports pollsters here. A good performance. They got the win. Still plenty of room to move forward. The Colts, as their receiving core, they leaned heavily on Jonathan Hines. Their receivers, tight ends were not that impactful against the Seahawks. I still don't have immense faith in Carson Wentz. The game ended up being a bit closer than the final score did than the game maybe should have been. The late kind of garbage time score by Indy. I was not that impressed by the Colts, but again, it is still early. Washington checks in at number 21. Their schedule, by the way, gets very difficult after this next game against the New York Giants. With Ryan Fitzpatrick out for probably around 2 months, if not more. We'll see how Taylor Heineke does. But Washington, the defense looked good. The offense still has its issues. They might be a similar team from last year. And remember, that team was not that good. It was just that the NFC East was absolute garbage. Now you guys can get $5 off your first order when you head over to magicspoon.com/chat. This cereal, folks, is the perfect blend of health and taste. It's high in protein, low in carbs, and it's got 0 sugar. So go get $5 off your first order at magicspoon.com/chat. Oh, by the way, despite having no sugar, you would literally never know. It tastes absolutely incredible, from the frosted to the fruity to more. Get $5 off your first order, magicspoon.com/chat. And yes, there will be that clickable link for you guys in both the comment section and in the description. The Eagles, one of the big risers this week, all the way up to 20. They blew out the Falcons. Now, that Falcons team right now looks just bad. Head coach says they were not prepared. Big red flags there. Jalen Hurts, very effective game plan, very efficient. It'll get tougher for Philly, but that's a big-time win to open up week 1. The Denver Broncos, they beat up a, I think, bad Giants team, so they're just above the Eagles, though. Still, Teddy Bridgewater, really good game. I like the defense. Very tough division. If you're a Broncos fan, I'd still want to see more, but I think this is a Denver team trending upward, especially after that week 1 win. The Patriots hover right around the middle, 0-1 after the painful loss against the Miami Dolphins. And I'll make note right now, by the way, folks, that right around this range, this 19 to frankly 3 or 5 range, absolute cluster. There was a lot of disagreement, and that's why we do multiple voters here, as to how teams should be ranked, because how much do you value what you thought team was going to be going into week 1 versus what you saw in week 1? How do you balance the week 1 outcomes for teams like the Ravens and Raiders? That was a bit of an upset there. A lot of disagreement, so feel free to keep commenting down there in the comments. Titans check in at number 17. I like them entering this year. That was an embarrassment. That was a very concern-raising loss by Tennessee. I'm not out on them altogether, but that was pretty darn disappointing. To my surprise, frankly, the Cowboys check in at number 16. Now, you guys know I am the host of the Cowboys Report here at Chat Sports. Despite that, I actually had the Cowboys the lowest among all of the voters this week, which doesn't happen all that often. There we are. The Cowboys, after a narrow loss against the defending champs, actually moved up barely in our power rankings. The Raiders check in at 15. Now, they were fairly low entering week 1, but they had a very impressive win over the Baltimore Ravens. And honestly, what I consider one of the more objectively hilarious outcomes in NFL history. To recap, in case you guys missed that game or whatever, because it was late, especially on the East Coast, I get it. So the Ravens kick the go-ahead field goal. Derek Carr drives in the field goal range, forces overtime, blah, blah, blah. Game-winning touchdown. Derek Carr, Brian Edwards, overturned down at the 1. Raiders won it. Quarterback sneak. They don't get it. They false start because they did a hard count from the half-inch line. Makes absolutely 0 sense. Terrible decision there. They throw a pick right through the hands of Willie Snead. Ravens get the ball back. Then Lamar Jackson fumbles. The Raiders settle for a field goal, but they have no timeouts. They were legging the kicking unit out there. So on second, they send back out Derek Carr. Ravens bring the house. Mark Humphrey gets picked. He gives up on the play. The Ravens just forget the defense altogether. Raiders win. Hilarious outcome, and I enjoyed the hell of it. Frankly, I had the Raiders above the Ravens, by the way, on this list. I know that might be some cause for some disagreement in the comments. Again, it comes down to how do you value the team you thought was way better going into the season versus the team that actually won the game. I had the Raiders higher. I think a lot of the national media power rankings are going to have the Ravens higher, probably higher than even what we do here at Chat Sports. So who do you think is the better team? Type BAL for the Ravens or type in LV for the Raiders. The Dolphins check up next here at number 14, a little bit higher than what they were last week. A quality win by Miami over New England. Well done. There are the Ravens at number 13. Again, a lot of disagreement. They were as high as 6. No names mentioned in this case. I'll protect that person. on our power rankings, which was a bit of a surprise. But early on in the season, you're going to see a lot of changes. There's always the disagreement of how you exactly juggle when there's not that much of a true sample size. So if you guys want our updates every single week and you want to have some nice, clean fun in the comment section going back and forth with other watchers and us as well, you guys can be mean. It's okay. I get it. Hit that big red button and subscribe. We will do these every Tuesday morning going forward with NFL Power Rankings. The Chargers check in at number 12. Again, a bit of a tier break here in terms of how they were all sorted. Some people have the Chargers a bit higher. Quality Week 1 win. Not a blowout, but they did beat Washington in the end. Green Bay checks in at number 11. They were viewed as a 3, 4, or 5 by pretty much everyone entering this week, but they got absolutely blown out by the New Orleans Saints. Green Bay and where they were placed was very difficult for the voters here at Chat Sports. The Saints check in there at number 10. I was most impressed, frankly, by the defense. That defense was awesome last year after a bit of a slow start. If that continues, watch out for New Orleans to really be a threat even without Drew Brees. Now, earlier we asked you, okay, which team are we too low on? Now the opposite end. Which team are we too high on right now? Get your votes in right now in the comments section. Welcome to what I'm calling the NFC West grouping. The Niners check in here at number 9. There are some injury concerns. That's a red flag. Looking at you, Jason Verrett, Raheem Mostert. They could have been higher had they not allowed the Lions to crawl their way back into it. I did have San Francisco higher, but I think that fourth quarter brought them down in some of the voters here at Chat Sports. Seattle then checks in at number 8. A very impressive Week 1 performance out of Russell Wilson. Very efficient, very dynamic. If that team continues moving forward, watch out. They're going to be a very real threat. So which team is the best NFC West team? All 4 of them are in the top 9 after 1 week. That's pretty crazy. I think that's the first time that's ever happened here in any power rankings done by Chat Sports. But get your votes in. Best NFC West team. SF for the 49ers, SEA for the Seahawks, LAR for the Rams, ARI for the Arizona Cardinals. As crazy as this is, there's really not a wrong answer. All 4 teams look damn good. All right, the Bills check in at 7. Again, they were as high as 3, according to some voters entering Week 1. Not a good effort against the Steelers. And it's Pittsburgh who comes in just ahead of the Buffalo Bills. The defense for Pittsburgh looks great. I got some offensive concerns, but a good showing. One of the most impressive wins in all of Week 1, outside of maybe the Saints, was the Arizona Cardinals. They beat a very good team in the Tennessee Titans. They jump all the way up to 5. They were big-time risers. I was not sold on Arizona after 1 week. I'll take the L so far. The Browns, it's kind of a surprise here, check in at number 4. They should have beat the Chiefs. They had that game, and they just lost because Mahomes went Patrick Mahomes. Still, if you're a Browns fan, a lot of positive things to take out of that particular game. The Rams jump all the way up to 3. I don't think the Bears are that good, but they absolutely blew them out. That game was never really all that close. The Rams offense with Matthew Stafford looks pretty damn good. Now, no surprise, the top 2 teams remain, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs. So before we reveal who we have at number 1, who is the best NFL team? Get your votes in for me in the comment section. Type in B for the Buccaneers or type in C for the Kansas City Chiefs. And unfortunately, and I do want to emphasize unfortunately, we actually have a tie here. The Bucs and Chiefs both got first place votes. Chase and Harrison voted for the Chiefs at number 1. I voted for the defending champion Buccaneers at 1, as did Sam. And if Mitch had just got his rankings in, we wouldn't have had a tie. So once again, everyone type in boo Mitch in the comment section. Type in boo since he got too lit in Vegas and did not get his rankings in.